Good morning, friends. My name is Ajay Sharma, and following the field of immigration has been a passion for me, and it's been a passion for me since last 20 years. On regular basis, I present these videos to guide and inform the prospective migrants on various subjects related to immigration. This particular video that will follow is my attempt to simply inform and guide you. It should not be taken as legal advice in any manner whatsoever. You should always take advice of a regulated consultant or an authorized representative or a lawyer before taking final steps. From my side, this is an attempt to inform you and guide you in the process based on my knowledge, my understanding of what the immigration process or processes are about. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this journey of information as I talk about the Express Entry program to Canada. To start with, a very happy new year to all of you. And I do not think, in my experience of last 20 years in being in Canadian immigration since 1994, I have ever been more excited than the recent announcements by CIC, Citizenship and Immigration Canada, through a program called Express Entry Canada 2015. What is significant about this program is how realistic the program is, not only for the government of Canada or its provinces or its citizens. The program is so realistic about the prospective migrants who want to really make Canada their home and live and work permanently in Canada. You may ask me why I am saying so. Because the government of Canada has, practically speaking, taken the right away from a prospective migrant to file the application. In the earlier process, applicable till 31st December, one used to have a list of occupation. Based on the list of occupation, there used to be a point system, and anybody who used to qualify for that particular occupation and met the minimum pass mark requirement could simply go ahead and file the application, and if picked up while and before the quota was filled up, he used to get the visa. It's as simple as that, after fulfilling all the rest of the requirements such as medical and PCC. So one would say, why is it that the system is more practical and more realistic from the point of view of prospective migrant? Okay, let me just briefly try and explain that situation. What happens is this, that when you are alternatively, when compared with the earlier system, always used to be, a really a stressful period for everybody who had intention of filing the application under the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Now, why there used to be stress? Because there used to be a quota per occupation, and then there used to be a total number of applications quota even for that. Under the new system, what's happening is this, that first and foremost, and that, like I mentioned in the beginning of my discussion on this subject, in last 20 years, it's never happened that today, practically speaking, everybody and anybody could really make an application under Federal Skill Program. Why? Because all the occupations under O, A and B category, not to confuse with technicality, all that you need to do is go onto our website www.abhinav.com and see the entire list of occupations which can make an application under the Express Entry program. For the moment, let me put it this way, whether you belong to marketing or science, or you are an academician, or you are an engineer, or you are an IT professional, you may belong to any particular stream. You have had a few years of experience, practically speaking, you are likely to be qualified, because right now there is no limited list of occupation, 28, 29 list of occupations. Practically speaking, every occupation now can qualify and be eligible to be qualified and accepted under Federal Skilled Worker Program. Tell me the last time that happened. I think the last time that happened was in late 90s or early 20s, which means that everybody can apply. So can the situation be more favorable for any prospective migrant than before? I do not think so. So number one, I think that's the biggest plus that I can think of from the viewpoint of prospective migrant. Number two, why it's extremely important and significant from your viewpoint as an applicant is this. Earlier what used to happen is for each occupation there used to be a limited quota of, let's say, 500 applications. Now there is no such quota. So this means that if one is picked up from the pool, and I'll talk later about the pool, and one gets an invite, irrespective of even if more applicants have been chosen from your claimed occupation, you will still be able to file for your application for permanent resident visa. So again, there is no per occupation quota limitation. I think that's another very significant component of this express entry program. Third is this, that if you are really interested in filing for this program, that your occupation is qualified, there is no quota applicable, you're already relaxed. What do you do next? What you do next is this: you look at your qualifications, you look at your experience, you look at your spousal qualification, look at her experience. And by the way, not to say that those who are unmarried cannot file. Of course they can file. In fact, there is a separate, the entire point system called comprehensive system called CRS. So again, I'll talk about that later at length. So anybody who talks about, who gets qualified under CRS, practically speaking means that more the number of points in case of spousal qualification experience, one can claim more points. If both the spouses are highly qualified, have excellent English language skills, again you get more points, which means more higher the ranking that you will appear in the pool. So I'll again talk about the ranking as I proceed forward. So again, a wonderful situation, because more qualified you are, more the number of years of experience you have, and similar for your spouse. And if you are unmarried, higher your qualification, better the English language communication skills you have, more the experience you have, more are the chances that you will appear higher in the ranking, and thereby increasing the pool, your ranking in the pool, and thereby increasing your chances for getting selected. So it's a dream situation again for you, because earlier what used to happen was that everybody was competing against the quota. Now what will happen is this: everybody will compete against other applicants who are in the pool, which means more qualified applicants, more experienced applicants, applicants with better English language skills, applicants with advantage of having spousal credits will again be higher in ranking, thereby increasing their chance of getting accepted from the pool. Typically, this is what happens. You first start the process by filing your application in the express entry pool, and in that particular pool, what will happen is this: depending on your qualifications or your experience, you will file your application and you'll submit your application. Once you get your application has been submitted, you'll again be ranked against other applicants, other candidates who are in the pool. Here brings in another key feature of this particular express entry program. One would say, what, I do not have a job offer, and what I read on the net, it means that if I do not have a job offer, I cannot apply, and thereby my ranking will come down. This is simply not true, because even if you do not have a job offer, you are permitted to file your application and into the express entry pool, and you will be accepted. And keep in mind that not all, in fact majority of people who will be part of this express entry pool will not be having job offers. So in majority of situations, you will actually be competing against candidates who also do not have the job offer. So what will the criteria be? On what basis your chances of being picked up from the ranking will be? Well, it will be very simple. Like I said earlier, better the skills, better the qualifications, more the experience, more are the chances that you will be accepted from the pool. another significant feature of this particular program is that, Canada Job Bank. Now, in terms of Canada Job Bank, I think that's another very, very key contribution by the Canadian government, by CIC, through introduction of this Canadian Job Bank. So what will happen is this: even if you have your application in the express entry pool, will it mean that you are in process for the express entry application? No, you are not, because after your application is submitted in the pool, you must also submit your profile, your resume under what's called Canadian Job Bank, using the personal reference number from the application that you have submitted in the express entry pool. So you also have to submit within 30 days your application in the Canada Job Bank. There will be a matching in due course, which will happen between Canada Job Bank and your application in the pool. And look at the other positive aspect. Let's say you are picked up from the job bank by a province or by federal government or a Canadian employer, which means that you'll get an offer. Earlier that was not happening, but because you had no process of approaching a Canadian employer. Now there is a Canadian government backed process called Job Bank, through which the employer or the federal agencies or the provincial government will look at your profile. And if you get a confirmed job offer, just because you happen to be in the express entry pool as well as in the Canadian Job Bank, what will happen is this: you get an offer, that offer you update in your express entry pool, and immediately you improve in the ranking. So you can start the process by getting into the pool even when you do not have an offer, but you never know, in coming days, in coming weeks, because your profile happens to be in the job bank, you will end up getting an offer and you will move up higher in the ranking. So this is again a very significant part of the Canadian Job Bank and its creation, and linking it with the express entry profiles is another significant part of feature of this particular program called express entry. Moving on, so you have filed in the express entry pool, you are part of the Canadian Job Bank, and then what happens? Then what happens is this: on regular basis there will be draws which will be picked out. Draws is another significant feature of this program. So draws which will pick out the candidates on regular basis, and those draws will be held against regular procedures which will be announced on the CIC website. So there will be absolute transparency on how the draws will be conducted, and if your profile is picked out of the draw, then you are issued invite to apply for Canadian permanent residency. Just hold on here. So you thought, I've been picked up from the profile, I'm going to get the invite. Not necessarily, because even if you are picked up from the draw, and this is the most critical thing and the feature of the express entry program that you must understand and remember and keep in mind, that express entry program is just a selection process that's been introduced by the Canadian government. It is not the selection criteria for the federal skilled worker applicants. The selection criteria continues to be what it was till 31st December 2014, which is 67 points you must get in the selection grid out of the 100 possible points. And if you have been picked out of from the pool, express entry pool, and if you meet the 67 points criteria, only then you will be eligible to file your application for Canadian permanent resident visa. So keep that in mind. And if you want to know what the federal skilled selection criteria and 67 points is, and whether or not you meet that 67 points criteria, either simply mail your profile and that of your spouse if you are married. If you are unmarried, either way, simply mail your profile to contact@abhinav.com. We'll do the assessment and revert to you, or you may simply go to our website abhinav.com and carefully review the link Federal Skilled Worker Point System, and you'll immediately get to know what the 67 points criteria is. So now you have the invite to apply, and how do you move forward? You have the invite to apply, you meet the 67 point system, you've been picked up from the draw. The next step is very simple, and that's another feature of the express entry program. You got the invite. you have the point system, what you do is this: you will file your application. Again, it's likely that even second stage process will be online process. You'll file your application along with the application processing fee, and subsequently you'll undergo medical, undergo security clearances, and finally get the permanent resident visa. It's been indicated by the Canadian government that once you have received the invite to apply and once you have filed your application, they will process the entire application within 6 months' time, and that's a wonderful news. So these are the key features of the Express Entry program. Putting in minor points here and there, your profile will stay in the Express Entry pool for 1 year, and after 1 year it will be withdrawn, but you have the advantage of resubmitting your profile as many times as you want, even after 1 year profile 1 year is over. And secondly, again you will get into the process of again resubmitting the Canadian Job Bank also. And so you have as many multiple chances of getting selected. As you know, circumstances can change. So what circumstances you face today may change 6 months from now, and thereby it may improve your ranking. Number one, so your profile will stay for 1 year in the pool. Number two is this: the Express Entry profile, even once you submit, so once you start your process of submitted, so you can update it as many times as you want before final submission. Even after it's been submitted, you can continue to update your profile in the Express Entry pool. So if you have reasons to believe that your chances of moving higher in ranking once your file is you have submitted your profile will increase subsequently, you can update your profile in the Express Entry pool, thereby again enhancing your chances of being accepted. So in short, it's a wonderful opportunity. All occupations are qualified, processing times will be reduced, you will be competing against other candidates, and you will be competing against qualification, experience, and language skills. So it's a dream situation, and if you do not take advantage of these dream situation, I have no idea of when you will ever be able to fulfill your dream of being a Canadian permanent resident. Thank you very much, and I will ensure that any query that comes into contact@abhinav.com is properly responded, and you are given the due service that every Abhinav client gets now and has been getting since last 20 years. Thank you. Always visit www.abhinav.com for everything latest on Canadian immigration news, or news on anything, any subject under the sun on immigration. Let's start talking about another key feature of the Express Entry 2015 program announced recently by Citizenship and Immigration Canada. As I've already stated that in fact this is a wonderful program which is a win-win situation for everybody, be it the prospective migrants, the Canadian employers, the provincial agencies, the federal agencies. This is an excellent program, and those who are qualified should get into the Express Entry pool as soon as possible and without any delays. That's very, very important. And to make you understand another key feature of the program called comprehensive ranking system, and throughout this video I'm going to call this system comprehensive ranking system. I'm going to talk about it as CRS. What the CRS indicates is actually and essentially a ranking system that will be created in the pool called Express Entry pool, whereby those who are interested in migrating to Canada will compete against each other. So in this CRS ranking system, what happens is this: there are various parameters which are basically picked up, and those very information related to various parameters is submitted by the prospective migrants. Now what are those parameters? Some of these parameters relate to the principal applicant, which is called core human capital. Then you have other parameter which relates to spousal qualifications. Then you have parameters which can relate to language issues. Then you have parameters which may mean that you may have a job offer, or you may have a provincial nominations. So in between all these parameters, an applicant submits the information related to his qualification, the spousal qualification, related to his experience, the spousal experience, related to his English language skills, the spousal language skills. Then you submit information related to you may have some Canadian experience or Canadian qualification, you submit that information. You may have a combination of Canadian experience and Canadian qualification, you may submit that information. If you have a job offer, you submit that information. If you have a provincial nomination, you submit that information. For each of these set of informations that you will submit, you will be allotted certain number of points. And in case you want to know what that point system in the ranking system is, simply go to our website www.abhinav.com and see at length and in detail how many points each of these particular parameters gets under the CRS, more popularly known as comprehensive ranking system. After you have put your profile in the CRS is the next stage, whereby the profiles which are higher in the ranking are picked up from the pool. For example, just to give an idea and the significance of CRS, let's say what is the total number of points? The total number of points is 1200. That's allocated 600 each. 600 each means that some which are situations where you may have a provincial nomination or a job offer, that could fetch you points up to 600. But then a situation also exists where one does not have a job offer, a provincial nomination, so for that there are separate 600 points. So what happens is this: the information is fed in, and then depending on how many points you are getting, another person is getting. So some may be without a job offer, and that's going to be the situation in majority of application. They're going to be without job offers and without provincial nomination, at least at the initial stage, but for some exception, that's what we foresee. And so an applicant may be getting 550 points. He doesn't have an offer, but he may be getting 550 points. Another one might be getting 525 points. Another one may be getting 500 points. So basically, through this CRS, the Government of Canada, CIC, through CIC, will announce the rules against which the draw will be taken up every month or on regular basis as per announced dates, and those who are appearing hiring in this ranking process will be the one who will be selected. So that's what CRS system is about. And in the CRS system, once you are selected, you move on to the next stage, which is that meeting the selection criteria of 67 points out of the 100 possible, as it's applicable on the day on which I talk. The selection criteria can change at any point of time. So you always visit our website www.abhinav.com to understand the number of points that you are getting under the CRS, or whether or not you meet 67 point criteria or not, or you can simply write us an email at contact@abhinav.com and we'll take it from there. One of our business managers will always guide you through the CRS assessment as well as assessment for the selection criteria. We have discussed the key features of the Express Entry 2015 program announced by CIC, Citizenship and Immigration Canada. And in the key features, we identified how the program is different from the immigration process or selection criteria which was applicable earlier and to now. And we also discussed the comprehensive ranking system in which the application is filed in the Express Entry pool and how it's picked up and the significance of CRS. Now let's talk about something that I'm sure all of you really want to know about. What is precisely the step-by-step application process, and also the processing delays at various stages. Very simple. This is how it works. You first must ensure that you have all the documents, all the information ready, because even to fill in your application under the Express Entry pool, unless you do not have some clear set of documents with you, you will not be able to submit your application into the pool. Now, what exactly are those documents? For example, you may ensure that you have the IELTS test report of yours and your wife's. You may ensure that you have educational qualification assessment, equivalency done by the time you want to file your application in the Express Entry pool. And with all the documents, and you want to know what are the all documents you need to be able to log in your application into the express entry pool. All that you need to do is write an app. You fill in your profile if you're married, self and your spousal, to our ID at contact@abhinav.com. If you're unmarried, you mail it anyways. So what we'll do is we will advise you to our prospective clients, or preferably after you sign up of our services, what exactly are the precise documents you must have ready to be able to really speaking meet all the stages of the application process which form part of the express entry program to Canada. Now, step number 1 is this: you log in your application with all the required information into the express entry pool, and the ranking will subsequently follow, like I said, as per the CRS system earlier. So you file your application to the express entry pool. Once you have filed your application into the express entry pool, it's an online process. So our experience in filling in an application for prospective migrants who are ready with all the documents in their hand and all the information in their hand, it can take up to a couple of hours to fill in this online application. You have to be very careful while submitting this application and the information, though it can be updated as many times as you want, but still you should always be careful about the application that you submit, because if any of the information that's submitted by you is incorrect or misleading, you can be debarred from filing for another application for permanent resident visa for another 5 years. So be very careful and always file in your application into the express entry pool under able guidance, or having all the correct documents and information in your hand. So once you have submitted your application into the express entry pool, and next step that you have to follow is that within next 30 days you must also submit your profile, your resume into the Canadian Job Bank. I'll talk a little bit more about the Canadian Job Bank later on. And this should be done within 30 days of submitting your profile into the express entry pool. When you submit your profile into the express entry pool, you'll be issued a personal reference number, and you'll use that personal reference number to file your application in the Canadian Job Bank, so that the matching process can happen. After you have done these actions, the Canadian government, on regular basis, they'll update you when they are going to carry out the draw. The information on the draw will always be available on the CIC website, and they will then pick out the profiles as per the ranking system, and they'll pick out those profiles, and you'll be picked up. If you're selected, you appear higher in ranking, you'll be picked up, and you'll be informed that you've been picked up from the draw. It's likely that information about the candidates who's been picked up from the pool through the draw will be regularly posted on the CIC website or other authorized website. In any case, if you are picked up, you will be informed. Having done that, the next stage is this: you should immediately check whether or not you are meeting the selection criteria of 67 points, which is applicable as on today, out of the maximum of 100 points. and once it's clear that you've been picked up from the pool, and also you are meeting the 67 points, the next step is that CIC will issue you invite to apply for permanent resident visa. And with that invite to apply, you will again go through the online process for filing the stage 2 application, and again you must have, and this is very critical for you to understand in terms of processing delays, that unless you do not have all the documents ready, you may still miss out an opportunity to get the permanent resident visa. Here's why: because when an invite is issued to you, you must submit the second stage online application within 60 days. The first one, remember, was that you submitted your application in the express entry pool. We call the second stage. The second stage would be filing your application for the federal stage. When you are filing a post receipt of invite to apply, when you file your application for federal skill stage. At that time, you will just get 60 days to do so from the date of invite to apply. So ensure all your documents are ready with you, all information is ready for you, and what this comprehensive list of documents which should be ready with you all the time, you should simply let us know at contact@abhinav.com, and normally this information is provided to us by signed client from Abhinav. And so it's very important to stay in touch with Abhinav, and the clients who retain our services, we regularly provide them this information and ensure that they keep all these documents ready, all the forms ready in anticipation of receipt of invite to apply, because getting some of the key documents can take more than 60 days. You don't have those documents as it is, even after receipt of invite to apply, you will lose an opportunity to apply for residence visa. So this is another critical issue. In terms of the processing, having received this invite to apply, and you log in your application within 60 days from the date of the submission, the Canadian government has indicated that they will process the application in not more than 6 months' time, provided the applicant meets all the requirement and in an exceptional situation or circumstances. The government is committing that almost 80% of the all applications received under the process, express entry process, whereby the application has been submitted for the federal stage, they will process within 6 months' time. I think that's highly optimistic, very positive, because that once you are picked up, you're going to be a Canadian resident very soon. So you submit your profile, and the rest of the with the application money, and the rest of the process will include, you will undergo your medical process, you will submit the RRPF fee, contact our office, or simply visit our website to know what that fee is, and you will subsequently be getting a communication asking you to submit your passports for visa stamping, and very soon you will become a proud Canadian resident. So these are the stages and the expected application process time under the express entry program. And of course, it goes without saying, before that you will be looking at you may like to look at various other features of the express entry program, like maybe Canada Job Bank, or the provincial nominations, and I'll talk a little bit about more very shortly in these my talk on Express Entry Program 2015, introduced by Citizenship and Immigration Canada. So the Express Entry Program 2015, the key features, the comprehensive ranking system, CRS, then we talked about in the express entry, how really speaking you file your application, the application process, and the processing time. Now is the time to talk about another significant key feature of the program called Canada Job Bank. And what exactly is Canada Job Bank? Canada Job Bank, the way we see it on the website, if you want to know the website of the Canada Job Bank, simply go to our website www.abhinav.com, and there is a link available to Canada Job site, and then you can visit comprehensively what the Canada Job Bank website has its features. So essentially what Government of Canada has done is that there are so many job websites. It could be workopolis.com or ca, it could be monster.ca. Likewise, there are 6 to 7 key government websites, or there could be provincial websites also. I'm talking of job websites here. So what the Government of Canada has done is that all those job websites which are active in Canada, and the ones which are identified and chosen by Citizenship and Immigration Canada to be linked on to Canada Job Bank. So all the websites, the information and the vacancies on those websites basically are linked in through this Canada Job Bank. So it's essentially, you could say, a compilation of all the websites which are actively engaged in advertising various Canadian job vacancies, and where the applicants are filing for the vacancies just like job sites across the world. And essentially you submit your profile on this bank or through these websites, and using the personal reference number that you received when you submitted your application into the express entry pool. Keep in mind that you will not be able to submit your application or your resume or your profile in the Canada Job Bank unless you do not have the personal reference number of submission of application to the pool. So that's the first stage. There's no point you going straight to the Canada Job Bank without having the personal reference number of successful submission into the express entry pool. So keep that in mind. So in this job bank is where you submit your resume, your profile, or you file your resume, profile, or respond to a particular vacancy whose requirements you meet. And if you are successful in your endeavor while your application is in the pool, and is an employer or a province or a federal agency ends up selecting you and wants to offer you, give you a job offer, there goes, and you can immediately then move higher in ranking because you now have an offer. So essentially it's a match. The job bank is a match between the express entry pool and the job, your submit, your profile, your resume, and in the process the matching that happens. And therefore the two, express entry pool and the Canada Job Bank, are to be taken together as key components of the express entry program through which the Canadian government plans to select its candidate whom they are going to permit to make an application for permanent resident visa to Canada under the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Perhaps the most significant aspect of the express entry pool or the express entry program 2015 announced by Citizenship and Immigration Canada, in my considered opinion and in my experience of last 20 years, is really speaking the wide range of occupations that have been opened by the Canadian government for prospective migrants. It's never happened like this before, at least especially since last 14-15 years. Now typically, so what's been announced is anybody who meets the requirement of National Occupation Classification, NOC, it's more popularly called, the occupations appearing at O, A and B level. So all those candidates who meet the requirements, job description, duties and responsibilities of any of the occupations that is appearing in O, A and B classification can make an application. So what does it mean really, O, A and B? So do not get into technicalities of O, A and B because leave that to experts or consultants or advisors or lawyers whose services you want to take, or even for your understanding, even if you don't want to take their services, you want to do make an application and want to understand what O, A and B means. Simply put, so the one particular category which is NOC O occupation list, so that's skill level A. Skill level A means that all the occupations which are of managerial level, it could be in administration, it could be in hospitality, it could be in engineering, it could be in personal human resources, it could be in the field of academicians, you name it. But if you happen to be in managerial capacity, you are likely to meet the requirements of NOC O as it's more popularly called. Then you come to qualifications, which essentially means if you have a university level education, your occupation is likely to fall under NOC A. Again, what it means is You could be a mid-level executive, you could be in sales, you could be in marketing, you could be in personnel, you could be in admin, you could be in engineering, you could be in IT, you could be in high healthcare. So long as you have a university level education, your occupation may be appearing under NOC-A. And for a detailed understanding of duties and responsibilities of various duties and responsibilities of various occupation, simply visit our website abhinav.com, and you'll find detailed description of each of the occupation which is expected to perform. If it's not updated right now, surely it will be updated in due course. And visit our website abhinav.com on regular basis to see the detailed listing of duties and responsibilities which each of the occupations in O, A or B is expected to meet, and accordingly see which occupation you meet the requirement of. Even if you are not clear about which NOC you meet the requirement of, you simply send us your, and if you are married, your spousal profile to us at contact@abhinav.com. We'll assess and we'll advise you which NOC you are qualified for. It may happen, however, because it's a highly specialized field of knowledge, we will provide this information on the NOC that you are qualified for. It may happen that but for some select situation, we'll be able to provide such guidance only to clients who retain our services. The B level would normally NOC B would normally mean qualifications which basically required a college level qualification or kind of an apprenticeship qualification. So by the way, so even if you have been apprentice for 3 years or so, you may still be qualified. That qualification and that particular experience may be qualified, and you may be able to file under NOCB classification of occupations. So not to confuse into O, A and B, this is very simple. The way I explained it: managers, university level education, and college or apprenticeship. In between all these, we are very sure that you will meet the requirement of one of the classifications. It's such a broad classification that each one of you may be qualified, and with proper English language skills and with a proper experience to back it up, if you meet all the documentation requirements and can provide those documents, there is every possibility that you are going to be one of the lucky ones who is going to be a Canadian permanent resident. And who best to guide you on this process, choose the right occupation for you, than Abhinav, with our experience of last 20 years in servicing our clients on all the Canadian permanent residency regulations. Simply shoot an email, give your profile, send it to contact@abhinav.com, and let's take it from there. When we were talking of comprehensive ranking system or CRS, we discussed at length that how in the CRS anybody who's having a job offer or a provincial nomination straightway gets an opportunity to move higher in the ranking because of 600 points that's been allocated for the purpose of job offer or provincial nomination. Well, it's very exciting, it's very important, but first of all, keep in mind that provincial nomination or a job offer is not a compulsory requirement to be eligible for express entry program of for federal skilled workers. Number one, but most importantly, in my opinion, is the fact that's a very concerning point for us at Abhinav and all the genuine agencies across the world who do not want the prospective migrants to fall into trap of frauds that will become common feature. Now that people know that having job offers will mean more points. So you will suddenly have many mails coming into you. You will see many websites which are promising you that we are going to get you jobs, and thereby because we'll do a job search for you, we'll get you a job, and because you'll get a job offer, we'll get you a confirmed job offer from a Canadian employer. We'll do all this required coordination for you. Well, and more importantly, they promise you all this. They're welcome to do so, but they are charging you thousands of dollars, lakhs, millions. They talk about the money that's unlimited at times. and then with no accountability as to whether or not actually they're going to get the job offers. There's no commitment, there's no guarantee. So what you do is this: they take money from you and they say we are searching, and the search is incomplete, and even if the search is incomplete and they do not get the offer, what they say is this: sorry, we tried but we did not get it for you. In the process, what happens? You lose valuable money and time. In our considered opinion, do not waste your time in paying a single penny to anybody for a job search process. Do not do that. Do not pay a single dollar I say, to anybody who says that they will give you a job or get you a job from a Canadian employer. I'll tell you why. It's not only that they do not guarantee, but even to conduct the search, they take thousands of dollars from you. So that money is gone anyways. The contracts are so watertight that even if you later on they'll say we tried, there will be no way you can get that money, thousands of dollars that you have paid back. Do not get into that trap. Number one, in majority of cases what will happen is this: as in the past it's been found many times that there have been some Canadian employers who are in league with these so-called search agencies or search players. So everything happens in a very irregular, quite an illegal manner at times. So monies are exchanged with no record, no document, who's giving money to whom, and that money is essentially flowing out of you in the end. So the offer comes in ultimately to you, and what happens after that? What happens after that is that CIC, all the Canadian agencies will definitely investigate and may investigate wherever they see an element of suspicion, because if offers are coming from blue chip companies, nobody is going to question them. But if the offer is coming in from a very small level company who is hardly a significant employer for their own for their business while they've been in existence in Canada, but suddenly they are hiring foreign employees, so the antennas will go up and investigations will go in. And once the investigations go in, and any of these employers suddenly say, you know what, we don't have that vacancy now, we used to have it earlier, or they for some reason or the other they say no, we do not now support this particular job offer that we had given earlier, and suddenly all that happens is this: if it was a fraud, anyway the action may be taken against the employer. But if it was even if they withdraw the nomination at any point of time, if they withdraw the offer at any point of time, who is the end sufferer? Because CIC after investigation will say sorry, the employer is no longer supporting your offer, or in the investigation we found that particular offer that you have is no longer valid, or we found that it's a fraud, the employer was never eligible to give you this offer in the first place. So what will happen? CIC will say, okay, sorry, these additional points you have taken, they are no longer valid for your application, so you're removed from the ranking, and suddenly you're back to square one. But much before that, you already lost that thousands of dollars whose trail is no longer available. Those people who were till yesterday running those wonderful websites offering you jobs, job offers, job search, those websites are not to be seen, those people are not to be seen. And even where they are to be seen, their contracts are so watertight in terms of job search process for which they have taken money from you. You go to them, they'll say we conducted the search, here is where we sent all the emails. If they did not revert back, what do? We are not to be blamed. Do not pay a single penny to anybody for job search. Do not become part of, or become a victim of any of these frauds, because rest assured that almost anybody who is telling you that they'll get you a job offer for money, almost each one of them is a fraud. Do not fall victim to a fraud. Go through the normal process. And what is the normal process? Normal process is very simple. Get into the express entry pool, file into the Canadian Job Bank. If you are lucky, and if you are qualified, and if you are good, you are credible, you will be picked out of the Canadian Job Bank. And you are picked out, then as it is, you got a genuine employer, because you are picked out of the job bank and you are picked up directly by the federal or a provincial agency or by the employer. You go through a genuine process. Through that genuine process, you get a genuine confirmed job offer, and through that genuine confirmed job offer, you move up in the rankings, and through that you improve your chances of getting a residence visa. That is the only right way. Do not pay anybody for job search. Do not pay anybody for getting you a job. Do not pay any money to get you a confirmed job offer. For God's sake, save your money, save your life. Remember very well that should you not take these precautions and it's found that the offer that you gave was a fraudulent offer, you'll be debarred from filing for Canadian permanent residency for next 5 years. Don't do that. Be part of a very normal, genuine process. If you deserve it, you'll get the residency process and you'll get the residency visa. That's our assurance. Stay in touch. Write to us at contact@abhinav.com or visit our site at www.abhinav.com for any information, the genuine information, the right information that you need on immigration process or program for any country. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.